Josh Yeldhm is one of our country's most recognised young artists, known for his special spiritual connection to this wondrous yet mystical Australian landscape. Josh, how and when did this all start for you, and what was your inspiration to do what you do?
I've been a painter for 10 years. I worked in film for 10 years prior to that. I went to an art institute in America called Rhode Island School of Design. When I joined the film department, I felt I needed an experience to enter my life so that I would then record it in film and make a story about it. And luckily my sister told me that she had just been to Venezuela, and so I knew the Andes were down there, so I got a cheap ticket and flew down there. And as I was landing in Merida, I saw this beautiful angel of a peak of a mountain, and I said, okay, that's my goal, I'm going to climb that. I didn't realise that fog comes in at that time of year and sits in the rainforest, and it just started creeping in when I was climbing, and within about 2 days I couldn't see more than a metre, but I couldn't work my way back down the mountain. I was bewildered where I was. This man turned up, and his name is Jesus. I tried to explain to him that I wanted to reach the top of the mountain, and he said, okay, I'll do it. I'll take you up there. I don't speak Spanish, he doesn't speak English, so we had 2 weeks of going through this incredible kind of journey with each other, and he started teaching me things about how he survived on the mountain. When we finally nearly got to the top, and then I got altitude sickness because we're so high up and I couldn't make it, and I said to him, do you mind if I come back again next year? And he said, no, let's try again. And I said, can I make a movie about what we just had? I took 25 people up the mountain. I had convoys of food. We borrowed equipment, ran out of money, found money, ran out of food on Christmas night at 6,000 meters, and basically made the movie and learnt as I went, and got a phone call at about 4 in the morning saying that I had won an Emmy Award for the film, for Best Student Film in America.
And how did you find this move from film into art? Into drawing?
When I started to draw, I found renewal and I found healing, and I also found immense freedom because suddenly I was a sole operator. I could move like lightning. I could work on a piece of board that cost $5 versus $50,000 a minute that I'm shooting in a camera. So the liberation was extraordinary. The fear factor was, well, okay, it's all very well to be creative, but how do you survive?
Josh, I'd love to know how you felt at that first exhibition.
Well, the series I did, I found an old double-decker bus in the desert, and I said, oh my God, what is that? Just like I found the mountain. And something told me that shelter could allow me to access this vast wilderness. I couldn't enter it. It was like a temple. It had beautiful zebra finches flying inside it, and at night there's this one white owl that lives upstairs, and there's an old shearer's bed upstairs that just sits there alone, and then all the cowboys have carved graffiti on the walls, and so I camped next to it and built a fire and a swag. And then as I lived there longer, I discovered a grave over these dunes, and on this grave, it was a grave to this woman called Eliza. She died in her 30s. She died in the early 1900s, and the grave is all abandoned, and on it it says, her charity covereth a multitude of sins. It moved me, and so when I started to paint, I made these paintings like offerings to her spirit, opening myself to the feminine of the desert versus all the harshness that was everywhere, the male harshness. For me, this was the woman, and so I made all these pictures to her. And so the first show was this whole sequence of paintings, and I used the steel bed upstairs as a symbol of her. that was the first show. What was the response like? Well, it was mind-blowing. People were so supportive. I hunt images. I have no idea what a painting is to become. So I start with a mark, and that mark collapses and destroys itself. In that kind of sorrow and in the ego realizing I've lost control, you scramble and fight to bring beauty out of that destruction. Just as a bushfire burns out the bush, and then there's a renewal, new life. So paintings are constantly new life, destruction, new life, destruction. And out of that, I complete a picture when it has a sense of reverence and vibration and beauty. That is my purpose. Like this series that I'm doing are fertility paintings. They're all about prayers for fertility while my wife and I do IVF. So these are using landscape and the river and the Hawkesbury River as a symbol of fertility, and diving through the harshness, the cliffs, the rivers, the little estuaries, the oyster leases, heading up through all this kind of challenging territory, and then finding the jewel, finding the absolute essence of shimmering vibration or positivity. I use that positivity to get me through something that is so emotionally demanding as IVF. And so these paintings are prayers. They're prayers for hope. They're prayers for forgiveness. They're prayers for guidance. They're prayers for protection.
Platinum File. Experience is everything.